Chat from the Deep up. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chat from the Deep, our weekly live stream post-session discussion. We talk about what just happened during D&D. This is the chat for session 2.7. So we almost had 2.6 on LV426. Is the so if you haven't watched that session yet, please go do that now because there will be spoilers. I'm your DM Eric, and joining me we have, excuse me, the Belch Gottwald's player Chris is muted, and Max player Raymond muted and
Hello.
eating something. Yeah, you guys did not make it nearly as far as I thought you would the session. I had a feeling the arena was supposed to be a complex situation where I'm just throwing a problem at you and I don't have any correct solution for you to deal with it. The worst solution, obviously, is to come in guns blazing because, you know, as I telegraphed and you guys could plainly see, there were lots of enemies that could rain down upon you.
Prepared for that, though? Were you prepared for the like if we had just decided to fight everything in that arena?
I guess I had enemies that could be dispatched to come at you. Clearly I was not prepared to run like the 40 Sawagan that were in here to actually like empty the stands and come at you. But it was more like an off-screen like patrol would come in or something. But I did tease something.
You did describe that there was like a barrier between us and the crowd. So like, okay,
right. So they couldn't literally swarm
even if they all saw you.
Yes.
I imagine you described like they're trying to break through the glass. You have a chance to escape.
Yes.
Like
yeah. Basically, yeah. Or they would have others like come around. But that's what I'm saying. They would maybe a patrol would come in and you have to deal with like more ads or something.
Right. Okay.
I loved. I mean, the plan was hilarious that you guys had to spend so long deliberating, but as a DM, I also really enjoy those moments where everybody's just trying to figure things out, and you're like, all right, the DM has given us a complex situation with a lot of parameters we have to deal with, and here's how we're going to try to combo all our abilities, or at least like two abilities. Before Sovereign Toro, we're like, I don't know, I guess we'll just fight these guys. But I appreciate that you two had some plans, and especially Mac with your speed and dialogue. I think this was a session really showcasing your character and your role playing.
Mm-hmm. It's funny how we get confused between this and Baldur's Gate now. We're like, wait a minute.
We're not the only players, I'm sure, that it's been dangerous with. They do just enough different things where it's like, okay, is this how this works here? Is this not?
Right.
Yeah.
As far as Toro and Sabra go, like I can tell that like the darkness is fucking them up.
Yeah.
Like they can't.
That was a big issue in that first fight, which it is, but that was one of the challenges you guys had to work with. Is like this whole place is dark, and this whole party is the only party I can think of where over half of the party actually lacks dark vision.
Does Sabra have access to dark vision?
The spell?
The spell, yep.
I don't know if she ever has access to it. I don't think she's taken it. Clearly a magic item that could do that would be extremely coveted. I'm realizing.
True. Let me see who has access. That's why I felt forced to take it.
Right.
Forced is a strong word, but I was like, I should probably take.
Yeah, and you used it in that one session where it was just you and her also, for the same reason, where you're like, oh, we have to like infiltrate an area and we can't like just, you know, turning on a light makes it really tricky.
Artificer, Druid, Ranger, Sorcerer, Wizard.
Yeah. Well, I think Wizard has access to just about everything, so.
Yeah.
Is she a wizard?
She is a wizard, yep.
So it's like, is it worth taking at this point?
Yeah.
So second level.
Especially once you start getting higher level, I feel like you can spend like some of the lower level slots on just a buff, and that one seems like such a a huge benefit from. I mean, 8 hours, no concentration.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like previously we've been in a sort of ignorant situation, either because all our characters have a solution, so we forget to even we don't even stop thinking about it. Used to, as a DM, stop even like including it as part of anything because like, okay, they've all got a way to deal with it, whatever.
Right.
Or because it just doesn't come up in the level, you know, like even Rhyme being underground, there was so much that was like, oh, but it's lit up. So yeah, there's no,
I feel like in Rhyme that would have come up a lot, but all of you had dark vision except for Frey, I think. and Frey
Yeah.
got an item pretty early on that can give
Right.
her dark
So
vision.
that was the first one where it's like,
So
like,
it just
we all
didn't
want
have
to
to
deal with
deal
it.
with it.
So you, as a DM, you just stopped even like considering it.
Right.
But yeah, this is one of the first times I think we're like we have to like neither is true, so we have to like consider like it's
Yeah, and we haven't had too many.
shocking.
Yeah, like obviously if it's during the day or something, like nothing, you're on land, like nothing,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to worry about
Or
it.
if
But
we don't care about stealth.
or you don't care about
Yeah.
stealth. Correct. This is a unique situation where like not only are all these creatures dark vision, it's their like home base, so they don't have any lights up as far as you can tell anywhere. And you're trying to be stealthy, so that does
Yeah.
put an extra challenge on it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was something you definitely had to deal with. Now in that arena fight, it was painful. In this one, as you all surmise, like okay, if we're just gonna go hard, then we don't have to actually stay in stealth, as long as you don't let people escape. And there is one enemy on the stairs who is scripted in this module to run up the stairs to get help.
Thought about like all of us thought about like okay, get past us. None of us thought about like running deeper into the dungeon.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
Oh yeah, of course.
There's
they run
stairs right
deeper.
there. Yeah.
They can run deeper into the dungeon.
Yep.
We'll see. I'm still just 10
That's
feet away
true.
from him.
Yeah, Mac's taking care of it. He's
And
on
you
the
can
trail.
actually go pretty fucking fast with that manta ray cloak, so that'll be impressive. But it's also going to be about a split party situation because you are
Yeah.
literally essentially on the next map right now
Yep.
because the stairs
And I
kind of
took
overlap.
quite a bit of damage from those two.
Yeah, that was painful. Yeah.
I know. I was like, I think in reality, I would have taken the cloak down at some point. So I was like, oh, I should use action to put it back on, because otherwise, I could have had action left to disengage.
Oh right.
I appreciate that you did that, but I might have even let you say like, but it is tricky. Like, I don't know how much the cloak like obscure or like how thematic it is versus like turning it off and on, because you could just say like, oh, I have it on all the time while I'm in this underwater dungeon. Of course I do.
Mm-hmm.
But would you? I don't know.
I don't
So
know.
I appreciate the idea that like, oh no, I'm gonna literally engage my item. I'm gonna use the action to activate it and then use my swim speed.
Right. Like how much is it like the armor I'm wearing? Like I put the armor on, like it's gonna be on for this entire dungeon. Like it's just not like
It's just that his magic item specifically
Has
says
an
you
activation?
use an action to like put the cowl
Oh,
down, and
right
that's
on.
what activates it. Yeah.
but there's no time like it expires
When
after
that's the
a
other
certain
side of the
time?
argument, right? You can say like, well,
Yeah.
I've always got my cowl down, so who cares? But
Yeah.
maybe for thematic reasons, it's like, oh no, I'm lifting it up if I'm not needing the speed right now.
Right.
Maybe it's
Right.
literally a cowl that obscures his vision or something. Not mechanically, but like thematically, he's
Yeah.
like, I'm not gonna fight with this on.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, obviously this is a very large dungeon, physically for one thing, which I agree is annoying as shit. And that's just the way these old maps were designed. There's super long fucking hallways where clearly they weren't moving, tokens on a map, I guess. I'm not
They're
sure,
just
like
describing
it was
the-
just room. Yeah, I guess they were just battling in the rooms instead of actually moving along the hallway like we are with virtual tabletop tokens. So that's an annoyance part of this map, but
It's a minor annoyance because you move your tokens way up to the north, but I mean basically the DM has to just basically stop you where it's like, okay, now you're actually somewhere.
yeah.
You're out of the just moving your token around. to the
I
hallway.
could, if you guys want to go in a direction, I could teleport you there, but I think part of the fun of a dungeon is like physically moving the
Yes.
token around and seeing the dynamic lighting and stuff.
Hmm.
Scaled their map by 10-foot squares. Yeah, and that kind of falls apart with 5e, so
Yeah, things start like combat starts getting wonky at that point.
yeah, you basically can't. Yeah, so I I feel like we didn't do actually much this session. I don't know what I can talk about. We just did the arena. I teased some stuff happening in the background. And it's kind of tricky on me as the DM to be like, all right, I'm kind of tracking some things, but the rest is just kind of timed with what you guys are doing.
Right.
But I do have some things in my back pocket.
We got a
Yeah,
seahorse running loose.
You got a seahorse running loose, which
yeah.
maybe that's what I tease in terms of the voices that you heard, because it did run that direction,
Right.
and maybe that helps or hinders. You're not sure.
We know there's at least one like boss Swagan somewhere to the south.
And if you recall, one of your sub-objectives was to take out the Swagan leadership. If you can.
I am slightly bummed at that our sustained attacks, 2 of them, Sawagan and our pirate ship, didn't even like stop the arena fight. Like there wasn't even like a big enough deal to like stop the entertainment.
No. What it did is it basically pulled all the patrols
The guards,
away.
yeah.
The outside. The inside may only be like tangentially aware of what's going on
Right.
outside because they got plenty of people dealing with everything outside. Yeah, they're not going to stir up the hornet's nest quite like that. And it'll be interesting to see once you guys, if you can't put a kibosh on any of these runners or, and you've already got some like investigations going on. Basically, we'll be building the momentum up and we'll see where it actually goes from there. But yeah, one of the things was to try and take out their leadership if possible. And they did point you to several areas in level 2 that for the lizard folk at least were main areas and rooms, like the throne room, the mess hall, the temple. But certainly rescuing people was also high on your agenda.
I'm impressed we were able to get that Triton out with minimal aggravation to the Horde.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely trying to work with you guys on everything, and I appreciated that. I think only Mac actually made it into the arena, and I think he did a great job while he was in there of just showcasing and playing to the crowd and trying to be like a manta ray at first and all that, and it kind of seemed to work, but maybe also drew the ire of some creatures. And then
it was a 16 to break out of the tentacle.
Yes.
Yeah.
How many 15s did we roll tonight? That were like, no, it was 15 when it was to break out of the tentacles, and it was 14 when the 15 was the AC. That we kept doing that too.
It's actually a 16 AC, but
was
you
it
guys,
16? Okay,
yeah,
we
you guys
rolled
could
14.
not fucking hit this poor guy.
Yeah.
Like he was. Thank goodness Savra actually did use that polymorph effect. That was a huge part of that battle that she probably didn't get enough appreciation for because it doesn't show. You do it once and you turn it off. But honestly, that took out like half the challenge of that battle. Is having to deal with like just half of those Sawagan champions because those are frightening stat blocks.
And we just couldn't hit him, and he's
I'm actually impressed with
long.
how often this module doesn't rely on the basic Sawagan stat block, but uses a lot of different variants and versions of the stat block. The champion.
That is interesting, yeah.
The coral smashers, the ones you're fighting right now. The deep divers are the ones with the angler thing, and the wave shaper is the one that just ran out of the stairs. You haven't even fought one of those before, so.
Yeah.
That part's fun because you always worry when you're in a monochromatic dungeon where there's one kind of enemy. It's like, how often are we going to fight like the same orc or something that's the same stat block?
Interesting, yeah.
Versus some of these subversions. And I do appreciate that these are all written into this module. There's like 5 or 6 different kinds of Sawagan that are actually here.
Yeah.
Which is pretty nifty.
Any chance my insult at that guy worked? Insulting his mother.
So far, you have not found, I think, a single Sawagan that speaks common. So we have to be kind of a universal threat, I suppose. They all speak their own language, which is the Sawagan language, is what it says. But yeah, unfortunately, they have not. You've never communicated with a Sawagan, I don't think. Maybe like one of the like a priestess or something. I can't recall. Like back in an earlier mission, but I know the normal Sawagan don't speak properly.
Good point.
Yeah. But I think you have got the right idea of swimming after this person and trying to get their attention and all that, which to your advantage, maybe the upper level has also got just huge hallways. So perhaps you'll be able to catch up before
he's
he
just running down a hallway.
jumps into another room already. Endless hallways. I did like the stealthy kelp, like grabbing the dudes and bringing them backwards though. That was pretty awesome.
That was my whole MO this whole session.
Moment to shine is just grabbing people. I almost wish 5e had cooler, like, knockout assassination moves.
Yeah, things
maybe that would break the balance.
Yeah,
you'd probably have to rebalance like stealth and stuff if you did that. But I feel like that move where you like take like people's heads and like smash them together and they're knocked out or something.
Right. Yeah.
But I think you'd probably have to rebuild like the balance in general if you allowed that.
Yeah, and I mean you can if you're trying to stealth, I mean, we handled it pretty well. There was a silent spell involved in the first hallway, but like if you're trying to like grab someone from behind and like hold their mouth shut to keep them from like, there's no mechanical thing behind that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of up to the DM to be like, oh yeah, sure, your grapple can keep them quiet, but mechanically it doesn't.
Right.
You know, so there's a lot of weird stuff with like, you kind of just gotta, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like-
it's a case by case basis, and sometimes maybe you like you can impose like, oh, it's a disadvantage. Then if you want to do this like targeted grapple, or just
Right.
it depends on how I'm feeling and what the situation is, I guess. Oh, they did have coup de grace rules. I feel like coup de grace might be more like they're dying and you're finishing them off, though. I think, is there anything that can like outright like one hit, like the OKHO basically is what I'm thinking of, where it's like you've literally
stealth
stealthed
KO.
on somebody, yeah. Maybe mechanically that would be like
might
automatic
be just a
crit.
different game though. Like
Yeah.
stealth KOs, it's like I don't know. It might.
This is a war game and not like a spy
Yeah,
game or something.
right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They might have to like rebalance the whole game around that.
Mhm.
Everyone want to be a rogue.
Right.
Yeah, the equivalent of that would be
I
like,
mean-
oh, I just get my sneak attack super
Right.
damagey thing.
And that might be a fun game to play. We're like, okay, yeah, here are the rules, and everybody plays a rogue. And everybody stealths around trying to one hit
Always
KO
sneaking
people.
and doing
Yeah.
insane damage. Yeah, and yeah, that's true. Just trying to like choke hold somebody.
Right.
I guess you could build like a class around that, but I think it'd be interesting.
Yeah. Which, yeah, I do wish that like there was what there is not in any way, shape, or form. Actually, you know what? Take that back. There is one feat. There's not a good way to restrain. Like the grapple thing is weird because like you can grab them, but they can still just full on attack you like normal. The restrain condition is what you're like really like thematically I'm going for.
Yeah.
It's not a good way to pull that off. You know, like
Yeah,
the game just doesn't want you to do that.
that's true.
There is one feat that I think lets you restrain, but it's so weird. It's like you restrain them, but you restrain yourself in the process. So
Oh.
they can still attack you like normal, and you can still attack them like normal. It's like you're both restrained. So I guess other people can
Others
attack
would
the
get the
person,
advantage. Yeah,
but it's that did never sound like a good idea to me. So yeah,
yeah.
but-
One of my many complaints about 5e, I think, is just that the conditions overlap in confusing ways. Like, do we
Yes.
need incapacitate and paralyze and stun,
Right.
and then we need grapple and restrain? Like, can we pare these down and just come up with a
Yeah,
solid mechanic for this? And I literally still have my conditions like browser tab always open and available if I need to click over and remind myself like, okay, which one is incapacitate? Which one is this? Which one is that?
Right.
And this particular game, I've become very familiar with grapple versus restrain for that reason.
Right,
Because
yes,
you're
yeah.
constantly reducing their speed to 0, which is still useful. It prevents them from getting anywhere else
Leaving,
and
yeah.
escaping. My thing as a DM is like, most creatures are, I guess, just not gonna escape the grapple because that takes
Not
like a
gonna
full
try.
action
Yeah,
to try to escape, versus they can just unleash their full attacks at regular,
Right, which
you
is
know,
the problem with
which-
it. Is it like, yeah, okay,
which is like
well,
a
you
forced
just-
tanking essentially. It's almost more of a
It's
taunt.
a taunt. It's
yeah,
a taunt. Exactly.
yeah. Which is still good for a taunting character.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it's never advantageous for my characters to try to escape unless they were literally like, oh shit, I'm like dying or I need to escape, then I need to use my action to get out of this.
Yeah.
Or they probably see you just grab them and like, oh, I can't beat this guy.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, Jason, that's it. A pin mechanic. That's what I'm looking for. Some sort of mechanic to where like I'm pinning someone to the ground. I'm yeah. They can't even get at me. Which
Probably
may
be
OP.
like allowed like once you grapple them, then like another grapple effect would then restrain or
Right,
something. Could be
like that,
interesting.
Yeah.
But I would also limit, if I was designing that game, that you could only restrain one person, even if you have two hands.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Which would make some sense because like you're having to put more into keeping them like pinned down so they can't hurt you.
Like, yeah, you're just literally wrestling somebody to the ground.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else about session 27? We'll have to talk about how we're going to do it next week, but I'm leaning towards just still going as no. My policy has typically been if one person can't make the session, we'll still have the session, just have that person not be there. If we have two people, then it starts getting dicey.
Yeah.
especially when we have 4 players, and usually we have to call it then.
Yeah.
I don't know how important those 2 guys are in that room, but maybe they grab Gottwald from the seaweed.
Right. Yeah.
I'll figure it out. I'll have some crafting sessions and talk about it, but that is it hasn't come up yet this campaign in terms of the complexity of having a character disappear, but having it be literally in the middle of combat.
Have we ever in this campaign? Have we ever ended combat mid-combat, or have we ever ended?
That's a good question. I do not know.
Round?
I try not to, obviously, if I can.
I think the other challenge too is like we're inside a maze. Like
Right. Like where does it go? Yeah.
Right.
in other situations, we're in the open sea, and
Yeah, they just disappear.
Coral disappear into the sea, but we're literally in a room.
You're in a room. Yeah, it's the chaos of battle. Gottwald just disappears into the seaweed fighting.
That's right.
Yep. It gets tricky, but we'll figure it out.
And maybe that's how you could balance it. If you wanted to be like, oh well, the 2 Swaggin in the southern room swim up, but they get met by Gottwald in the seaweed forest, and
Yeah,
all 3 of them disappear.
Yeah, I'll
It's like,
figure
okay,
it out
well,
balance.
that's how you rebalance it.
Yeah, you might. Yeah, one of them tackles you and you're fighting off screen
Right.
or something. We'll make it work.
Yeah.
All right, I think that is going to do it for this week's Chat from the Deep. Thank you to Chris and Raymond, and thank you to all the Wonder fans for watching, and we will probably see you next week.
See you later.